I'm reading 1 Corinthians 1, verse 18 at the moment. So, the foolishness of the world's wisdom. For the preaching of the cross is, I'm going to fold the page, is to them that perish foolishness. So, let me read that. For the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness. So preaching is seen as foolishness to those that perish. But unto us, which is saved, it is the power of God. Okay, so we see that and know the truth in God's word. And therefore, it's not foolishness to us. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise. So those that think they're wise, I'm going to bring them down. And I'll bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent. Because man's wisdom means nothing. Where is the wise? So where are they? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of this world? Who's going to dispute what I say? Hath not God made foolish the wisdom of this world? If you look at people that are set to a reprobate mind at the moment, it's a great example of their so-called wisdom. For after that, in the wisdom of God, the world by wisdom knew not God. It's because they're in their own, they don't know God because they're not reading his word. And they're just basically, think that they're wise in their knowledge and their goings on. It pleased God by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe. And here we see that he uses sarcasm, the foolishness of preaching. He refers to what men call it, those that perish. For the Jews require a sign, and the Jews required a sign. The Pharisees wanted signs and miracles, but even then they didn't believe who Jesus was. And the Greeks seek after wisdom. The Greeks are seeking after their own gods and other things, and their own, source of truth, but not God's word. But we preach Christ crucified, and to the Jews a stumbling block, and unto the Greeks foolishness. But unto them which are called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ the power of God, and the wisdom of God, because the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. So you see in these last two sentences, he just completely crushes them, because he's saying the foolishness of God, which, men refer to it as foolishness, his word is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. He just basically just crushes them, discards them, and says, what you think is wisdom is not wisdom. What you think is wise is not wise. For the weakest in my word is stronger than anything that men can concoct. So, it's a sign of the times we're in, isn't it? Like people running around, just an example, like, being prideful, displaying and waving a pride flag around and saying things like that, right? That proves that they haven't read God's word, because that's clearly one of his commandments. Anyone who's read God's word knows that, and therefore would not behave in such a manner. And so the wisdom of men is clearly just at the moment, do what, the wisdom of Satan, do what you will. Anything goes, They're not reading God's word. And we're in that time again. We're in that time again where people just they're not living by his word. They're not guiding their lives by his word. They're going after their own wisdom, using their own wisdom, what they think that they're almost gods in a way. So this is foolishness, because it's basically, they say that God's word's foolish, but they don't reflect on their own behaviors and their own actions and take a look at themselves. It's a very powerful, few verses. I'm going to continue to read. God bless.